enterprise deal. It's a little bit higher stakes. You've exchanged information, you've had meetings, you don't quite have the contract yet. It's sort of circulating internally. You're not 100% clear, who the absolute final rubber stampers are. You have a good sense of it. Of course, the CEO can always just go, we're doing it. But that guy's a little bit inaccessible. You need other people aboard. You have a sense the lawyers still want to come in and torpedo everything, and they still have to be dealt with. So it's a little bit messy, and you're mid-deal, but there's $1 million at stake, and they start asking you for stuff, right? So they're not moving forward, but they're asking you to produce things that take work on your side. So the situation is, again, you're mid-deal. Now you've invested in the deal. You want the deal as good as you are, as good as I am. We're acting a little bit needy because that's the way life goes. We're investing. We got time in it, energy in it, money in it. Maybe somebody traveled. It's on our pipeline. It's in our pro forma. It's a big enough deal that, it adds to the revenue cycle and throughput. We want this deal, but all of a sudden they're asking us for stuff, but not moving forward themselves.
So let's begin with a basic thing, something called the universal law of need. The more you need the deal, the more likely you will lose the deal, just straight up. And if you get the deal, the more you will be willing to give away in order to get the deal. So if you're in a situation like that and you feel desperation to close the deal, like you've got that tug, and it usually starts with this: you go to the boss and say to the boss, we have to do this or we're not going to get the deal. Or you're saying it to yourself. In that case, you need to take a hard look at why you need this deal so badly.
Pause there. I got Daniel looking over my shoulder and Jeb looking over Daniel's shoulder going, get her done. Get her done, son. Let's get her done, right? And then the neediness is from the back pressure I'm getting from my organization. I'm starting to get requests that I know are unreasonable, but I'm as a sales guy getting squeezed from both directions.
If I go back to look at your desperation. If that desperation is created because you have an empty pipeline, then you're going to have to manage those disruptive emotions in a sea of desperation that you're not going to be able to fix. If the pressure's coming from your own organization, and I've been there, like the boss says, look, we've got a forecast, we need to hit the forecast. In that situation, by the way, as a salesperson, suddenly you got leverage. Like if my boss is going, look, you need to close the deal, I'm going to the boss and going, okay, give me something to close the deal with, because I can close the deal. Like if you're in a mid-cycle and enterprise level deal, and they want to do business with me, we have to assume in this situation that it's not pipe dreams. Like they've got an incumbent vendor they're really really happy with, and it's one of those sharpen your pencil type of deals. We're just talking about everybody in earnest wants to work together, and the buyers, the stakeholder group, whether it's purchasing or whatever, starts to ask you to give them some free consulting or to start working on things. We see that happen all the time. There's no SOW in place. There's no contract in place. We still got to deal with lawyers. You may have IP issues, that type of thing. So we know that's happening. But if the boss is saying, Jeb, you need to get this deal done by the end of the quarter, then I'm going to turn to the boss and go, what do I have? What can you give me that I'm able to use as leverage, right? So if they come to me and say, I want you to do some work for me, then I'm able to go, I'm willing to do this work, but I want this from you. But if you can do this for me, I can do this over here. So if I'm the salesperson, now I don't know if a 23-year-old's smart enough to get this, but I know that I am. If I'm getting pressure, then the deal for me is I'm collecting the commission check. So if the company wants me to close the deal and they say whatever it takes to get the deal done, I'm going to do my very best to protect the company's interest, but I'm also going to do what my boss asked me to do. Now, let's take the next step up, okay? So we're getting pressure from the company. We got a little pressure from ourselves. We've been working on this thing for a year, and it means something to us. We've got relationships with the stakeholders, and we like them and they like us. And those relationships have gotten personal. And this is what happens probably more often than not. And there's a lot of contracting that has to be done. We got procurement over here, we got lawyers over there, we've got our lawyers, we got their lawyers. And the truth is, in a lot of enterprise deals, you're probably not going to talk to the CEO. So somebody's going to make a decision out there on this thing. You may not even ever talk to the person who ultimately says, we're willing to sign. Regardless, they come to you and say, hey, we're getting in a hurry. Like, we need to get this done. This happens a lot. In my world, it happens a lot. I had a really, really big company we're working with, and this is exactly what happened. They go, we're in a lot of pressure on our side to go ahead and get some of this done. We don't got a contract signed. Now, guess what I got? Power.
Yeah.
I have power, right? Because they're coming to me and asking me for something, and I recognize that it's not what they want, right? It's urgency. Now I'm able to compress time. And if I can compress time, I can win. And so what happens at that point is I'm shifting from a selling motion to a negotiation motion. So I'm moving into, okay, we're closing this deal. Like, I'm going to accelerate the whole thing. I'm going to start saying, you want me to do these things? I need to get a commitment from you. Now, here's the thing in an enterprise deal. You're going to get a commitment from the stakeholders. They're going to say, yes, I want to do this. And then they're going to immediately hand you off to a procurement group. And they're going to say, we need these things, go to them. And the procurement group's going to go do this. They're going to go, whoa, slow everything down. They're going to say, listen, Oren, here's the thing. And they're going to do this by email, by the way. There's not going to be any communication. And they're going to go, I need you to sharpen your pencil. Because like all your competitors are coming in, they're willing to do this less than you. Now, you know the truth. I've already got the relationship with these folks, and they've already said, I want to do business with you. Go back to motivation, right? I want to do business with you. So they're doing all this stuff. And so I just tell the procurement group, you're right. My competitors are probably willing to do all those things. I'm giving you my best, the best thing I can give you. So here's what I think we should do. Let's get back together with the stakeholder group and let's figure out what we can take out of this thing so we can meet your budget. And the things that I'm going to take out are the things they're asking me to do. I want you to do this, 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 and this. So now I'm in a negotiating triangle, and I'm going to win every single time because the stakeholder group, they need this done. The procurement group is slowing it down, but they need it done because they got time pressure. Time pressure is different than any other type of pressure. They got to get it done, and their self-interest is getting it done. And that's when the decision maker will reveal themselves. I'm going to say, well, I can't get anything done because procurement. And this happened just recently to me. This is like the story. A senior vice president got a phone call that said, we can't get this thing done because procurement's in the way. 24 hours later, a contract got signed. I never met the senior vice president. All I knew was the stakeholders have made a decision for me. Motivation, leverage, and power. It's just a chessboard. And once they made the decision for me, the procurement was they were just in the way. And all I do, because I'm not desperate, right? Because I'm able to manage that emotion because I know how people work. And I know that you know how to do this too. It's just a frame. All I did was leverage a takeaway. I'm not playing the game. I'm not chasing you. I'm not doing any of those things. This sounds pretty good. Let's get these people on the telephone and figure out what we can take out in order to meet your budget.
I like that a lot. In some people's deals, there's sort of aren't things you can take out. But what I'll find, like my equivalent to that is that I got to I'm in. The CEO will say, I'm in. We want to hire you guys. We love you. You're better than Goldman Sachs. You're better than Houlihan Lokey. We're going to go with you guys. But I got to go present it to the board. Can you come present to the board? Which is, I think it's not quite procurement, but it is a very difficult situation because the board will always say, looks like a good option. Go find me some other options so I can take a look, right?
Well, the board is the ultimate naysayer group, right? The board's job is to say no, not say yes.
Sure.
That's their job, right? So when you're standing in front of the board, you're standing in front of a whole group of people that are aligned with the CEO, and their job is to keep the CEO out of jail. Simple.
So in that situation, it's a little bit different than procurement. I say, look, you cannot come and dump your problems off on my doorstep. I'm giving your problems back to you. You get to own your own problems. The board, I never met the board. You never told me on day one that I got to deal with the board. I presented to a lot of boards, but for this deal, this size, I'm not going to chase it. Here's what I suggest. And then I teach them how to go around the board, right? The board doesn't really care. They just want control over you. They don't care about this. It's not a big enough. They trust you on this. They just don't want you making decisions outside of them. Sign the contract. Do the deal. We go forward. Otherwise, I'm out, right? I'm not getting involved with the board. This is not a good enough deal for me to chase to that degree. We'll give you a 7-day kill switch. Go tell the board, you signed us up. You're happy with us. Let them aggressively opt out and convince you why we're not the right people. Because most likely, they're just going to go, oh, I love those guys. Fuck it. Good job. Keep going. If you're planning to become a deal maker at this level, make sure to join the Daily Dealmaker. We get into one little piece of this daily. And so you're just stacking and stacking and stacking these tools and tactics and strategies until they come out of you as naturally as they come out of me and the people that I work with. Add the tips, tools, strategies, tactics a little bit every day. And by the end of a year, you'll be a totally different, new, improved person and a very strong deal maker.